Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. My name is Kylie Woods, and I'm the founder and executive director of Chic Geek. Thank you so much for joining today. We are excited to host, and I am just worried that you cannot hear my mic. Give me 1 second. Testing, testing. There we go. Now we have some sound. Excellent. Okay, so we are excited to host our latest event, BTS with StellarAlgo. We're going behind the scenes to learn about careers in data science and data engineering. The BTS series stands for behind the scenes because we take you backstage to really understand the people, culture, and leadership of technology companies. And thank you everyone for piping in the chat. I'm glad that the sound is working. Chic Geek really exists because we don't have enough women in technology, and the women that we do have are leaving. We're here to change that through connection building, peer elevation, and community support. So thank you everyone for showing up, because when you do, you help us make that change too. Chic Geek stands for diversity, inclusion, equity, and belonging. We support reconciliation and believe we all have a role to play in building harmonious relationships between Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal people. As I share the land acknowledgement from where I'm hosting today, I invite you to share the land from where you're joining us as well. Feel free to put that in the comments. In gratitude, I acknowledge that this event is being hosted on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, and the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda Nations, and the Métis Nation Region 3. We acknowledge all nations, Indigenous and non, who live, work, and play on this land, and who honor and celebrate this territory. A land acknowledgement is a starting point, many would say a bare minimum, to the work required for reconciliation. We know that at Chic Geek and are on a learning journey to deepen our actions in this space too. Today, we are going behind the scenes with StellarAlgo, a software as a service company that focuses on the most passionate customers in the world, fans. They're one of the leading companies in live entertainment data, which is a pretty glamorous space to be. Some of their clients include the Calgary Flames, Vancouver Canucks, US Open, and the New York Yankees. The algo in StellarAlgo is short for algorithm, because it's how they help partners understand and engage with their fans with stellar algorithms. That's pretty easy to remember. Stellar pulls data from a variety of sources, including venues, e-commerce, social media, marketing, and advertising. And they use these data points to paint a picture about fans that culminates in over 200 million unique records and over 5 billion interaction data points. That's huge. You can see why StellarAlgo is a company recognized at the forefront of technology, leveraging the cloud and Amazon Web Services. StellarAlgo is a partner of Chic Geek because they understand the value of diverse teams and want to see more women represented in technology. It's not just talk at Stellar. The pursuit of equity, diversity, and inclusion is driven from leadership. Vince is the founder and CEO of StellarAlgo, and he's expressed its commitment to walking the talk when it comes to fostering a supportive, inclusive, and flexible environment for their team and the way they show up for community, which is why I'm excited to dive into data careers at Stellar today. With that, I'd like to introduce our speakers. We have Jessie Niles joining us from Germany, and she spends her summers in Calgary. How cool is that? Jessie is a data strategist who is part of the customer impact team. She bridges customer-facing and data teams to bring features to life in the product. Her background in data analytics is leveraged, but she's also recently finished her Masters of Management Analytics from Queen's. Jessie has a huge passion for sports. She played professional volleyball, and she brings that high performance mindset into her work at Stellar. Next, we have Solmaz, who is originally from Iran. She has her undergrad in applied mathematics, and then she completed a master's degree in computer software engineering and a certificate in business intelligence from SAIT. When we were planning this event, Solmaz shared that when she came to Canada, she applied for a lot of jobs, but had a hard time getting interviews. So for anyone applying for data jobs or trying to get your foot in the door, Solmaz is a great example of someone who's been in your shoes, made it through the really crunchy stuff, and is building a thriving career at StellarAlgo. So don't give up. And in her production support lead role at Stellar, Solmaz is a problem solver. So whether it's data related, product issues, connection, or whitelist, Solmaz is known as a solution finder, something that I think resonates with many of the folks in our audience as well. And lastly, we have Nakissa, who is based in Richmond Hill, Ontario. She's got a master's degree in electrical and computer engineering and is currently a data developer at StellarAlgo. Nakissa has experienced both data science and data engineering roles, and in the discussion today, I'm excited to understand the difference between the two. Nakissa is driven to achieve impact in her technology role, impact with her team and for the business. And that drives the way she thinks about her career, and we're going to hear more about that. So welcome, Jessie, Solmaz, and Nakissa. I'm excited for the conversation today. All right. Say hello, everyone. We just want to make sure your sound is working.
Hi, glad to be here.
Perfect. All right. So the first question I've got is for Jessie and Solmaz. Breaking into tech, especially a software as a service company, can be challenging. In your experience, what's the most successful trait you can highlight if you don't have SaaS experience? Solmaz, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question, first of all. I want to highlight that in SaaS companies, they are usually agile. And because of the changes in technology, we need to be consistent with the changes and improve in order to maintain the company can maintain its position in the whole world. So we are trying our best to learn about new technologies, new changes, and we encourage everyone in our team and in our company to stay on top of everything.
That's a big job. Jessie, what do you think? What other skills are needed here?
Yeah, so building off what Solmaz mentioned, I think somebody that maybe doesn't have a background in technology or SaaS can really bring a sense of curiosity, asking lots of questions, and a commitment to learn. I think that's a really good way to start your journey in the industry. And keeping in mind that having an outside perspective can actually be a huge asset, because you might pick up on things or see things that somebody who's spent a long time in the industry might not see. So as you'll quickly see, I'm a big fan of sports analogies. So I like to liken it as learning a new sport. So at the start, you might not be a top player, but with enough time and enough reps, you can really become an all-star, as we like to say at Stellar.
I love that, Jessie, because you might not be stellar off the hop. And working at a tech company, a software company, you need to be willing to not be the greatest all the time, but the commitment to always being better. Absolutely. Nikissa, you've been with Stellar for a few years now, and you've held both data science and data engineering roles. Can you just explain the difference that you have experienced in those two kinds of roles?
Yeah, of course. So, data engineering and data science, they have so many overlaps in the required knowledge, skills, and education. Like, for example, for both of them, you need to know like some SQL and like Python programming language, and you have to have background in mostly data science, or like computer science or computer engineering field. But mostly a data scientist cleans and analyzes data and answers questions and provides metrics to solve business problems. And it focuses on extracting meaningful patterns and insights from large data sets by leveraging scientific tools and methods and like procedures and algorithms. But data engineering is a branch of data science, and it primarily concerned with the practical applications of data acquisition, and it focuses on developing, testing, and maintaining data pipelines and architecture, and which the data scientists uses for analyzing those data.
Nikissa, thank you for that high-level overview. Jessie and Solmaz, is there any other context either of you would like to add to that?
Yes, she explained really well. The only thing that I can add is, usually data developers are responsible to cleaning the data, and then data scientists are using the clean data to, to get more information to help business owners with their KPIs.
I think the only thing that I'll tack on is that I think Nikissa's experience in both roles is a really cool way to highlight the opportunities at Stellar, because there's opportunities to really lean into a variety of your strengths and work in one area for a period of time and then maybe transition to another role. So there's lots of great opportunities to gain experience in a variety of areas.
I love that, Jessie, because Nikissa, you went from data engineering into data science, and then you chose to go back into data engineering. So it sounds like Stellar is the place that will support, also following the direction you want to take your career. Nikissa, can you help us understand why you chose the data engineering route over the data science route?
At first, I didn't have any experience as a data scientist, and I only had a course in university. So I wanted to gain more experience and, understand more about data science. And I wanted to see, do I like it, like data engineering or not? And and it was good for me to have that experience, of course, in my resume. So StellarAlgo gave me that chance, to learn more in this field. And I started, I changed my career to data scientist, and I learned a lot, really. But, I think for me, for my talents and for my experience, data engineering was the best for me, because data science for me was more like, I don't know how to explain that. It's like more research, it was more research than analyzing the data. And so I chose the data engineering over data science.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Nikisa, for walking us through your journey there, because I think, it sounds like there's a lot of self-discovery and awareness of what you love to do and the type of work you love, and then you're able to create your career how you choose to. So that's great to see. Jessie, speaking of things that you love to do, you've had a very different career path into StellarAlgo. I think because of your high-performing sports background, that was very interesting. You're currently a data strategist on the customer innovation and impact team. And your love for data clearly has shown in your education path. So, I'm interested, what advice do you have for folks that are looking to bridge seemingly unconnected backgrounds? For you, it was high-performing sports and data. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, I have had some great opportunities to get experience doing a variety of things. I also have an undergraduate degree in biology and played professional sport for a number of years. So to some, it might seem a little bit disconnected, but with each experience, I really learned skills that I apply every day in my role at Stellar. To give a couple of examples, with my biology degree, I really developed strong skills in the scientific method and really honed a curiosity to innovate and to test and learn. And then my time as an athlete helped me to really grow my interpersonal skills. So working as a team, giving and receiving constructive feedback, and working hard towards a common goal. And so I think having a diversity of experiences and backgrounds is really an asset to any company. And so at least that's what I've told myself throughout the journey. So to answer your question, though, from my advice for people who maybe feel like they have a disconnected background, is to really take some time to reflect on your journey and each experience and identify some of the strengths that you want to carry with you throughout your entire career. And I found that process of reflecting and actually writing down these things that I want to take with me has helped me to articulate them, both for myself and to other people, and helped me to feel really confident in these strengths and skills. So that's what I would recommend to those who've had lots of cool previous experiences.
That is great tangible advice, Jessie, to reflect, write it down, and don't lose that confidence that, just because you're taking something new or unrelated, there is still valuable application. So always kind of looking for that thread. Love that in your approach. All of you now have years of experience, both in your career, some of you at Stellar, but we know that career development is something that happens at every stage of our careers. And Stellar, I believe, actually has a really strong learning and development budget for all employees, which is great to see. I'd love to know, what you're currently working on with regards to your career development. What are some things that you're trying to be better at right now? So let's kick it off with Nikisa.
So, as you know, I'm a data engineer. So what I do is collect, move, store, and pre-process the data for data scientists and data analysts. So as a data engineer, I need to have in-depth knowledge in both database and know programming languages and data warehousing and ETL tools and cloud platforms, and it's good to have information about machine learning, also data visualization tools, and so I'm trying to work on my technical knowledge by improving and learning about all these tools. And also I'm working on my communication skills for non-technical part of my role, to communicate better with our customers and have better understanding of their needs.
Awesome. Thank you, Nikissa. I hope folks are taking notes as you're writing, as you're sharing that stuff, because those are really great things to know, especially if you're interested in a career in data engineering. Solmaz, what about you? What's next for you on the career development path?
So recently I finished a course by the help of the company, it was regarding the leadership, and it was awesome. So reviewing the content is always a good way to remember the stuff I learned, as well as, nowadays we are using more AWS services, so there are lots of things to learn on that side as well, about Glue API in Redshift, which is something that we are using a lot nowadays. And as a support leader, I have to stay on top and learn both changes in data world in our company, as well as our product changes. So these are the things that I'm focusing right now, as well as the changes that we have on data side as well, which is not which is a huge amount, because we are evolving and we are updating our pipeline to improve our processes and to up our game.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing. I'm still percolating because I'm thinking about how this all summarizes. But Jessie, I want to hear from you too about, what's next for your career development.
Yeah, so in my role as a data strategist, I've been with the company for just shy of 8 months now. And so early on, I spent a lot of time doing and creating new patterns of analyses to provide additional value to our partners. So I was looking at different industry trends, such as like fan acquisition rates or ticket purchase timing habits, or full season ticket buyer retention rates, things like that. And right now, I'm really approaching my growth in learn by doing. So that's, I think, a great way to learn is just by jumping in the deep end. And so I'm focused on taking some of that early work that I've completed and trying to figure out ways to scale that impact. So I've been investigating new tools and ways to scale those analyses so they can be more efficiently shared across our customer success team and our greater team at Stellar, so that we can then relay that to our partners. So that's immediate term what I'm focusing on and learning about. But longer term, my big goal is to become a leader at Stellar. And so even though I'm not in a formal leadership role right now, I've really been jumping on every opportunity that I can to practice and sharpen my leadership skills.
Amazing. I feel like, all of your responses covered both, how important it is to stay on top of your technical skills, especially at such a tech-forward company like StellarAlgo. So that willingness to learn new technologies very quickly and stay up to date is critical. But also, Jessie, what I'm hearing from you is thinking about how can I contribute to building a better team, whether it's processes or in other ways, as kind of the next steps. So I think those are really great things for our audience to be able to keep in mind as well. I want to shift gears here a little bit, because StellarAlgo prides itself on being a flexible company with all employees around the world. Jessie, you're in Germany. That's clear proof of that. But there are also pods in Toronto, Vancouver, and Tampa. So I'd love to know, what are some of the challenges that come with a hybrid and remote office, and what is your workaround, Jessie?
Yeah, so the flexibility that Stellar has provided to me has really been invaluable to both me and my family. To give you a bit of context, the reason why I'm based in Germany is that my husband plays professional hockey here. So that's why we're based in Germany for part of the year and back home in Calgary for the other part. And so I'm really grateful to be part of a team where I'm working in an area that I'm passionate and interested in, but also able to work abroad and support my partner in his career. So to answer your questions, one challenge that we've got creative with is the time change. So I'm 8 hours ahead here, so it's just after 8 in the evening for me. And it certainly requires flexibility on both sides, but how I've tackled it is by designing and working in what I call a nonlinear workday. So I break my day into 2 or 3 chunks of time and really focus on different types of work in each time block. So I like to get up early and do that really deep thinking and kind of alone. You need to shut your door and be alone in your office kind of work. Take a break to go to the gym, maybe play tennis, come home to execute or work on some of the projects that I have on the go, and then take a break, grab a bite to eat, and then jump online for my afternoon or evening to do more collaboration meetings and talking with my colleagues. So I feel really lucky that I do have the opportunity and the flexibility to design a workday that both works for me and works for the greater team. So a couple other things I'll mention is that I think our Stellar team makes this hybrid model work really well, is because we've developed a really strong digital community and really use those digital communication tools really well. So that just makes being a part so much easier.
Jessie, thank you for actually sharing how you chunk your day, because it's really valuable for folks to hear how other people are designing their work, that we don't always need to stay in this traditional 9-to-5 model. And I'm like, oh, I would love the mornings for deep work time. So I'm like, oh, maybe I can integrate a little bit of that in my work, even though I'm in Calgary. So that's very cool. Solmaz, maybe you can build on this, a little bit, because I also know you're a very proud mom, and that you have been doing a lot of work for your family and loved ones back in Iran. So you're balancing a lot of things right now. And, from your perspective, how does Stellar support that flexibility?
Sure. It's a great question. This flexibility is really valuable, and you cannot put a price on it. For me, my husband is not in Calgary most of the time, and taking my son to school and back is part of my job as a mom. And Stellar has always focused on, has always reminded everyone in the company that family comes first, which is really awesome. And all the time they have supported me, and based on my need, I have changed my schedule to be able to cover, to be a mom as well as a leader. And sometimes, because of some of the promotions that we need to do, takes time, and it's better to work on them after working hours. So I have my schedule is some part during the day, between the time that my son is at school, and then after hours when he's asleep, I come to work for a few hours.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in these types of roles, it does sound like it's very important to carve out that space for deep work, uninterrupted time, and then also the time when you need to collaborate and be in meetings. And so that flexibility to build your schedule to actually accommodate the deep work is really critical. Nikissa, did you have anything final to add around this conversation of work flexibility and how that might show up for you?
StellarAlgo supported me very well for the flexibility, because at first I was living in Calgary and I was supposed to be in Calgary when they hired me, but then I decided to move to Toronto because of some personal reasons. So they supported me and they allowed me to work remotely from Toronto, based on the Toronto times, but and all of my colleagues, they supported me whenever we were doing some group works. So they were still working while I just finished work, and all of them are so supportive, and it means a lot for me.
That's great to know that Stellar also supports its people in transition. And I believe that almost all of the roles you hire for are remote. But Nadia, who is on the talent acquisition side, will be able to speak to that at the very end a little bit. This is a question for Nikissa and Solmaz. For someone who might be looking to build their career in data engineering, what are the most important skills to showcase specifically at StellarAlgo? Nikissa, why don't you kick us off there?
So I think knowing at least one database language like SQL and one programming language like Python and one cloud platform like AWS is so important. And also having some critical thinking skills is important. But at least you should have like some SQL knowledge, database knowledge, to start your career as a data engineer.
Okay, that is awesome, Nikissa. So you just gave us the technology trifecta, and I want to repeat that. So that was SQL. What was the second one?
Like one database language, it depends, but I'm saying only for a StellarAlgo. Like one database language like SQL, programming language like Python, and like a cloud platform like AWS.
Perfect. Okay, so folks, remember that. That is great, Nikissa. Solmaz, do you have anything to add around, what types of skills people should be showcasing?
Yeah, sure. So on high level, Nikissa mentioned SQL. So I want to dive more into that. So in SQL, because one of the main jobs of a data developer is cleansing the data and transforming it. We are working with, we are creating and improving different procedures. And so as a result, being familiar with different architectures and dynamic SQLs is really important.
Love that, because I'm jumping to a question from the audience someone wanted to understand the difference between data analyst and data engineer. And so, Solmaz, based on what you're saying, I'm hearing that a big part of data engineering is cleaning up the data. And maybe this is a question all of you can jump in with is, what are those big differences between the data analyst and data engineering roles? Solmaz, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, sure. In my opinion, the main difference is with data engineers usually work with the raw data, the data that is gathered from different sources, and there might be different issues in the data, like empty columns, duplicates, and different type of issues that we can have. So data engineers work is kind of cleansing and structuring the data that we have. On the other hand, data analysts usually works with the cleansed data in order to get the information. So in as a result, someone who's a data developer or data engineer can work as a data analyst, but most of the time, a data analyst do not have all the knowledge to work as a data engineer.
Okay, great. Thank you for that breakdown. Jesse, anything to add there?
Yeah, I'll just add that in my role as a data strategist, I think it more closely aligns with some of the activities that a data strategist data analyst might do. And an analogy that I like to use when thinking about analytics is you're really learning to become a translator between some of the more technical aspects and kind of that a lot of the work that Nikissa and Solmaz might do, and figuring out ways to translate that maybe to be customer facing or helping to solve business problems. So learning to translate the technical into the kind of the practical application is a lot of what my role focuses on.
Love that. Okay, so the understanding of the technical, strong communication to be able to speak to a variety of audiences. So those are key skills in a data analyst or strategist role. Nikissa, anything else to add on this conversation between the differences between a data analyst and a data engineer?
So, they explained well, but, in general, if I want to say something, it's just, data engineer just prepares the data that data analysts use for like making better decisions for like companies.
Awesome. Very simple breakdown there. And I think folks, who are listening, when you're thinking about that, it's like, to Nikissa, your journey of like, what drives you? What do you love to do? Those are great things to think about. I want to talk about some of the cultural elements of working at StellarAlgo. I know that there are 3 core values that the team really kind of aims to live by, and that's, a growth mindset, self-galvanized, and greater together. I'm wondering if all of you can share an example of how those values show up in your day-to-day work. So Solmaz, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, so I will focus on self-galvanizing. An example can be, at a Stellar, on a daily basis, we are challenging ourselves with different tasks. And most of the time, it can be, in my group, we are solving problems for different clients that we have. So it's really agile, and we have to change our task and based on the priority and focus on different problems. And yeah, in my opinion, it's a great example. It can be a great example as self-galvanizing, and we help each other in order to become better, and we support each other while we are challenging ourselves.
I love that. Thank you, Solmaz, for sharing that story around self-galvanization, because that could be a term that folks aren't as familiar with, but I think it really is that initiative of showing up like that. Nikissa, do you have an example of how these stellar values show up in your work?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about we are greater together. So technology changes so fast, that no one is technical enough. So we learn together. And in StellarAlgo, we work with cutting edge technologies that needs learning new technologies, and I'm always open to that. So everyone in StellarAlgo is so friendly, and they are so helping, and everyone helps you when you need them. They spend a lot of time explaining things and helping you, and they help you grow and learn new things. And it's not like they give you only one task or one kind of work. As you know, I worked as data engineer, then shifted to data science, and then came back to data engineering again. So they help you grow in different fields, and it's a culture in our company. And I love that about the StellarAlgo.
Nikissa, I like your story because it makes the tech less scary. And that's really important for tech not to be scary, that we're unafraid to roll up our sleeves and learn it. And when we know that we've got people to lean on who can help us in that journey, it's actually an exciting place to be. So thank you. Jesse, you're last but not least. And I think, what is your, value story at StellarAlgo?
Yeah, so I'll touch on the third core value, which is having a growth mindset. And I appreciate how apparent this value is all the way from the top to the bottom in our company. So our leadership team is always asking for feedback and really open to it, and designing the company with the employees and our customers really front and center. Vince, our CEO, he is constantly making himself available to connect with the entire team, even though he's crazy busy. And so he really sets the stage, and this cascades down to the rest of the company. And so in my day-to-day work, because I'm exploring different types of analyses and exploring if and where the value lies, I'm constantly trying to ask for feedback from particularly our customer success team and some of our partners, our customers, to really dig in and understand. So growth mindset is an important value to everyone, I believe, at Stellar.
I love that. Thank you all for sharing those stories. I think it's so important to talk about how values actually show up in your day-to-day work, because that's one of the ways you know that a company is investing in its culture and its people, is that they're not just stickers on a wall, but it's in the way that you show up for each other, interact every day, work on your projects. And I think that, we clearly see the, greater together, self-galvanized growth mindset showing up in the Stellar team. So that is exciting. Audiences, we will have some time for questions after the discussion, but if you want to start popping any questions you might have for Jesse, Nakissa, or Solmaz into the comment section, we are monitoring that and we'll address them with the panel. So feel free to start popping those in. And my next question here, StellarAlgo has a reputation for working with cutting edge technologies, which is very fast paced, but also exciting. It's a great place to, I think, start and build your career, because it is, using so many technologies at the forefront. What advice do all of you have for someone that might be applying for a job at StellarAlgo? Nakissa, why don't you kick us off?
So I think if someone wants to apply for a career in a Stellar or in tech companies, they need to actively take like courses and like learn new things and like update themselves, because it's just changing so fast, everything, and you need to be updated about the latest technologies. And we have a dedicated space to experiment with new applications, because we want to be the best, and so we need to stay actively alert to the possibilities offered by new technologies. And we need to like learn. And I think the best offer I can give is just like take as much courses as you can and learn new things in this field.
Awesome. Thanks, Nakissa. And being able to demonstrate that you are having that initiative to continuously learn. So that's great advice. Solmaz, how about you?
First of all, I will encourage people to read the job descriptions really well and make sure that they're, what they're applying for is something that they are passionate about. Just working in tech companies is not always the best idea. There are nowadays different tech companies. So find something that is, related to what you're passionate about. If you're someone who's interested in sports or fans or even data, then yes, StellarAlgo is a great choice for you. But as well as if working with a team of talented people and all the time challenging yourself is something that you're interested in, yes, this company is great, because you are never bored. There is no day that you are not having new issues, new problems to solve. So it's great. Yeah. Some people love to solve problems, so this company is a great fit for them. But for the technology side, I think that for us in data team and in support production, we are working with SQL, Redshift, AWS. So these are the things that to focus on. Or even in any kind of nowadays tech companies, they are using with different databases. So it can be relational or structured database such as SQL, or maybe a no structured database such as Mongo. So learning what you're looking for, what kind of database you are passionate about, you like more, it can be result in finding a good fit for your abilities and experience.
Thanks for that technical breakdown, Solmaz, but also the reminder that, passion is it's something important in the way you show up at Stellar, because the work you do, you're dealing with companies sports fans, sports teams. There's a lot of energy there that's important and something you're looking for in the team as well. But I want to remind folks that you don't always need to meet 100% of all of the requirements in a job posting. But if you can demonstrate your ability to learn and that you're already learning those other things, that is maybe the kind of a good middle ground. Jesse, what advice do you have for someone applying to StellarAlgo?
Yeah, so I think Nikissa and Solmaz did a great job highlighting some of the technical pieces. So I'm going to focus more on the cultural side, because I think a big reason why our company has both grown so quickly and become a real leader in the industry is because of the strong foundation that we've created with the culture of our team. And so we touched on the 3 cultural values that we have. So greater together, having a growth mindset, and self-galvanizing. So my recommendation for anybody that's interested is to really look for examples and highlight examples where you have demonstrated these values, and share them in the process, because culture is a really valuable piece of becoming part of the Stellar team.
I think that's an awesome application hack, Jesse. If anybody is applying for work, knowing the values of the company you're applying for and being able to speak to that either in your cover letter, your resume, or an informational interview is really key. So thank you for reminding everyone of that. We have a question that's come in from the audience. They're asking, how do you recommend someone getting into the data space without a bachelor's degree in sciences? We have talked a lot about how important it is to stay educated, stay current, always be learning, those new technology skills. What are some courses or training that they can take to set themselves up for a transition from maybe a different field? And what roles are best to look for in terms of entry-level positions to build experience? That's a long question. Does anyone want to take a part of it?
Maybe I'll share my experience in joining the Stellar team, because it might be relevant to some people tuning in. Before I started full-time with Stellar, I actually completed a project as part of my master's program, part of my capstone project. And so I would recommend for anybody looking to get into this space is finding some internships or some of these ways to not only gain experience, but to meet and learn from people in the industry is a really good way to do it. So if you can identify any internships or kind of school-based projects where you can pair the 2 up, it's a good strategy, and certainly one that worked really well for me.
That's good advice, Jesse. That reminder to look for hands-on experiences to demonstrate your real-world knowledge. So it could be, internships, projects. It could be personal projects, or getting involved with groups like Data for Good, which have chapters all around the world. So that's a really great piece of advice. Nikissa and Solmaz, any other recommendations on training or education? Where should people maybe get started?
So, for me, because I studied computer engineering and I worked in this field, I only can say that, if you want to start this without studying in this field, it's better to start as a data engineer, because, a data engineer can be a good data scientist and data analysis, but a good data scientist or data analyst cannot be a good data engineer. So if you start as a data engineer, then you can change your career further in your path to a data scientist or in a data analyst if you want. And it's better, I think, to take some courses and with a co-op, that you can start as an intern in a company and get hired, full-time after that. If you don't want to take some courses like that, you can take some online courses and learn some database languages. It depends on which company you want to work and which database they are working with. So for example, if you want to work with the StellarAlgo, you can learn SQL and like data modeling and Python language and AWS cloud platform.
Awesome. Thank you, Nikissa, for that reminder that data engineering is a great starting point, and it can open up a lot of other doors for you as well. Solmaz, I know you have something else to add here.
Yeah, there are lots of online courses that you can, finish and do the exams, and then they will show up in your LinkedIn. So I know they are not like bachelor or master degree, but they will show they have credit. And when people are looking for data engineers, data scientists, they see that, and these have values as well. So don't underestimate these online courses or exams. And I just wanted to add one small note here, that networking and finding the right people that can encourage you and guide you to find the best path for you uh, can be really game changer. And you know what we can, what I can offer for someone might not be the best option for that person, and we need to consider that. So based on, they need to search as well and find the best solution for how they want to enter that. Because I
So
know that when we say that working on SQL as well as Python as well as AWS can be confusing and too much, but these need to be break down as well.
that's awesome, Solmaz, and thank you for the reminder about the importance of networking. StellarAlgo also partners with Chic Geek on career pathing. So that is our mentorship, our virtual mentorship platform, where folks who sign up will get 2 new introductions every month, and many Stellar team members mentor with career pathing. So if folks are looking to explore more careers in data science, data engineering, I'd recommend looking into career pathing, because there's an opportunity to connect with a lot of other folks at Stellar who might be able to provide those kind of networking touch points and career advice that you might be looking for. So Solmaz, thank you so much. I think we've got time for 1 or 2 more questions. One is directly for you, Jesse. As someone here, as a fellow former professional athlete as well, and they're wondering, what practical courses would you recommend to improve the chances of securing a role in your department at StellarAlgo?
Yeah, so maybe I'll let Nadia at the end of the presentation speak more in detail about how to secure a role, but I can share how I prepared to secure my role. And one area that I brushed my skills up on before starting my master's degree that has really served me well is some basic courses in statistics. Having a really strong foundation in this area has helped me in doing a lot of analytics type work. So I would recommend, if somebody doesn't have they feel like a strong foundation in statistics, that could be an area you could look into. And then as well, in my role on the innovation impact team, we do a lot of creative thinking. And so, and seeing what else is happening both in the sports technology industry, but also kind of more broadly when we're looking at new ideas. So I would say to stay up to speed on kind of what's happening in the industry, and get creative on how that might be applied to the work that we're doing. And that's something that I did prior to joining Stellar and do on a day-to-day basis, is really keeping a finger on the pulse of the newest and latest that's going on in the world of tech. So
Great insights. Thank you, Jesse. I want to get to the final question here, and Solmaz, I'll direct this one to you. But you mentioned that Amazon Web Services, there's still a lot to know in that. Besides Redshift and Glue, are there other specific, AWS services that folks should know about?
I guess to work in the data team as a data engineer, these two are the main ones to focus on. There are other services that we are using, but as a data engineer, the focus is mostly on Glue, and then recently more into Redshift. On high level, we're using CloudWatch as well to monitor the jobs and failures. And there are lots of different services that we use, but let's focus on the main ones at the moment.
Okay, Solmaz, thank you for that insight. That's excellent. We are nearing the top of the hour, so we are going to wrap up the panel discussion. This will be available to view on recording, and you can also connect with a bunch of other folks at StellarAlgo through the Chic Geek Career Pathing Program. I want to extend a huge thank you to our speakers, Jesse, Solmaz, and Nikissa. Yay, thank you. I know the audience is clapping, you just can't see them. Why don't you give a wave, speakers, and then we will take you off stage and move into our closing remarks. Thank you all. All right, so we are just wrapping up here, and I'm going to pull one final speaker on stage. As I do, I want to also just put the post-event survey into the comments. If you could all visit that link, it would be appreciated. Any feedback you have for the speakers, we'll be sharing directly with them as well, so they can keep developing. And you will also have those in your inbox, so it should be in your email. This has been a really wonderful discussion with the StellarAlgo team. If you are building your career in data science or data engineering and are looking for a place that will accelerate your learnings, support you in a team environment, I encourage you to learn more about StellarAlgo. Nadia Niazi is the manager of talent scouting and employer brand at Stellar. So she leads their hiring. And I'm going to bring her on stage to tell you a little bit more about what they are looking for. Oh, Nadia, do you want to unmute? Sorry.
Totally. Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me here. And yeah, so what we're looking for, I think we'll start off with the applications, the ones that really stand out for us. It's always good to have your key achievements and projects, listed very nicely on your resume. That can really make a difference. It's always good to have your tech stack mentioned clearly as well. So, all of the technologies you worked on. And of course, I would love to know more about you. So put in your hobbies and extracurricular over there. If you are a fan of a sports team and we're working with that team, well, fantastic. That's another way to connect with us. We've had a lot of interesting applications. We've had people from different backgrounds. Like, we just hired someone who had a Bachelor of Science in Forest Products, but then, he kind of went on and did coding and engineering on his own and got tons of certifications. And now he's part of our team. So, there are lots of opportunities. It's just about, being on top of your game when it comes to data. Another thing that I would like to highlight is that, we're looking for people who are passionate, who are excited about, what we are doing here at Stellar. They're naturally go-getters and, they have a growth mindset, just like our speakers told us, and they gave us such amazing examples. And someone who's, who really wants to work with data, right? If you love data, if you want to work with latest technologies, then I feel Stellar is the place to be for anyone like that. I know that all the speakers did highlight which, in-demand skills we're looking for. Just want to give it again to everyone that, cloud experience is definitely an asset, whether it's on Azure or AWS. It's fantastic. Proficiency in Python, SQL, that's going to get you places as well, but in different roles over here at StellarAlgo. And just keep on being on top of your game, get those certifications, do those online courses. And overall, for me, it's been amazing at Stellar. It's been 5 months. I'm recent, but I'm thoroughly enjoying my journey. And I think the speakers told everyone as well, the flexibility aspect for me works the best, allows me to work and manage family. So it's definitely an exciting place to be at.
Amazing, Nadia. Thank you so much for that, kind of backstage insight on applying to Stellar. I think that a lot of this discussion hit on what are those key things that should be included in an application. So hopefully that gives folks a little bit of a step up here. And thank you so much for representing Stellar. All right.
For sure. Thank you.
Okay, everyone. So that is it for the show today. In our post-event survey, we do ask for your LinkedIn profile. So if you share that with us, we'll pass that on to the folks at Stellar. And if they think there's a really good fit with your background and some upcoming roles, they'll reach out to you directly. So feel free to share that with us. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and you have a very great weekend. Bye.